Welcome back to my channel. If this video makes it up, it would truly be by the grace of God, because the way I have been procrastinating filming all week, and I want to get this video up on Sunday, and today is Friday, which means I'm gonna have to be working on Saturday editing this video, but it is a-okay. We're gonna keep it light, fresh, and simple. Today we are hosting, and just, something small, something intimate. So I figured I would do a chit chat set up with me instead of a get ready with me. It's a chit chat set up with me. What I'm hosting tonight is actually just an intimate at home paint and sip night. I used it as I wanted to host a paint and sip for a very long time, but I don't have the space to host more than like one person because I'm gonna do it on like my kitchen island, which only seats 2 people. I could do more if I like rented a table and chair and all of that stuff, but I want to at least start off by just doing it with one other person. So I hit up one of my friends who I actually have not seen in a very long time. It's actually been months. So I hit her up like, hey, let's catch up, but let's do it at home because ain't nobody trying to go outside. It's also really, really snowing. I think it might have stopped. We don't want to go outside anymore. I don't want to go outside anymore. I just got over being sick, or like I just got over a cold last weekend, and I'm really just not trying to go anywhere. So this is the perfect solution. Make home the destination again. And that's what we are doing. So I'm going to be setting up, but I'm also going to I will be filming a video for Instagram and TikTok. So this is like a triple platform whammy, and we're gonna see how this works, because the video that I want to film for Instagram is probably gonna be some ASMR style, which means I won't be able to talk. And then TikTok, I'll normally do a voiceover, and then obviously YouTube, we're just like chatting it up here. So I'll check back in. I'm gonna start setting up now and start setting up for TikTok filming or Instagram filming. So maybe I'll even just show you what that looks like. Always start off with my phone and tripod and trying to figure out the best angle. Truthfully, it doesn't have to be perfect, but we want an angle that shows as much as possible, and we want to make sure that it's straight. So we want an angle that, yeah, that's probably going to be my beginning angle. Behind the scenes, inception, you see it. All right, we're filming on 4K. Normally, I turn up the exposure, but I don't know, I'm feeling like a darker exposure. Actually, I might want to test out, I'm gonna test out a darker exposure for today. So we're doing -0.3. Also because the paint sip is going to be at night, but I'm starting to film my setup during the day because I like the way it looks, or starts off to look, and I like to film in natural light regardless. So yeah, let me just at least make it a little bit darker. Let's do that. Let's see. Let's try something new. Low stakes, low stakes. Start recording. Yeah, okay. We got it. We got the shot. Usually, I'm not even convinced that this steamer is doing much, but I don't really want to put an iron directly on a marble top, so we're gonna stick with it, and I'm gonna do the best I can with what I got. This time 2 weeks ago. Last week I was already back in the US, unfortunately, but you know what we do in December, you know the vibe. So I spent 2.5 weeks in Ghana and Nigeria. I hope you can hear me. I hope this steamer is not too loud. And truthfully, that was the longest trip I've ever taken. Like, that was the longest. Oh, the water's almost done. That was the longest time that I spent living out of a suitcase. Like, I've lived away from home before. Like, I spent a summer in Baltimore, my summer after junior year of college. And obviously I went away for college, so it's not like I haven't like been away from home. But those times that I went away, it was like unpack the suitcase, hang up your clothes, you're rooted here for a while. And this was just like, oh, travel, like, oh, currency exchange, like that type of thing. So that was my longest trip. I don't think I would ever travel for more than that length of time, because when you travel for more than that length of time, you have to start, you gotta start like living there in a way. Like, you can't order out every single day. Like because the thing about travel is that like you're ordering out, you're not really going to the gym, you're not really like doing your routines, you're probably not being as diligent about work. I know I'm not. So if I'm away for any longer than that, it's like, all right, now it's time to act like you live here and start getting back into your regular routines, but just abroad. So I think 2 weeks is really the most I'd like to do. The 2.5 was because I went to go visit my aunt and my grandma in Akure. So that was an additional add-on, but initially it was only supposed to be 2 weeks, and then I extended my stay to account for the days that I would go to Akure after the fact. Now for the fun part, we are doing one of those bow candelabra setups. Kind of racing against the clock because in about an hour, the sun is gonna start setting. So while I do this, let's chat. Let's just talk about Detty December. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Because the girlies wanna know, I said this on TikTok and I said this before. I feel like this is 2024 is going to be the year of like low-key, subtle gatekeeping. And I don't know how to describe it because I saw a lot of the critiques that people had about Detty December. And truthfully, I think it is very similar to the critique that a lot of people had about Afrotech. And obviously very transparently, like I was, and whether or not people want to admit it, I was the subject of some of the critique that people had about Afrotech. And I think really, and the critique that people had about Afrotech was like, wow, like this girl who's not even in tech is like there getting sponsored to attend. And I won't really go much more into detail because that was months ago. And people have been saying the same thing about Detty December in the sense that originally Detty December, quote unquote, was really just people going back to the countries that their parents immigrated from or the countries that they immigrated from and spending the holidays there. And it was a good time to spend there because one, that is the time of year where you can like use your PTO, but also not have to use too much of it because normally you would have days like Christmas, like a lot of people would have the days between Christmas and New Year's off, or like it would be remote or things like that. Like that's just a fake time of year, that time of year between Christmas and New Year's. And so oftentimes people would leave for the holidays and do them. That original purpose or the origin of Detty December is why I continue to get questions like, are you Nigerian? Or comments like, I thought you were Nigerian, but you're in Ghana, or you keep talking about going to Ghana, which is funny, but I'll also just address it. Number one, it's funny to me because I don't know. I don't think I'm the first Black person who has taken a liking to a country that is not the country that they are from, or that the country of their cultural heritage, right? Like I know a number of creators who just love South Africa and make South Africa their home without getting questions like not their home, but like their their repeat vacation destination. I know a lot of content creators who love a good South Africa trip, and I'm about to be one of them because South Africa was one of my faves that I visited last year, who don't get questions like, but wait, I thought you were, or are you South African? right? So that's number one. So whenever people say the like, are you Nigerian or are you Ghanaian? Like, which one? I'm just like, is it possible that I can like a country other than Nigeria? It's possible. It's possible. Is it possible? Like, I think people are just not used to Black people like showing love to a country, another Black country that isn't their own, if that makes sense. Maybe it's because of the Ghana Jollof Wars. Maybe the Ghana Nigeria Jollof Wars. Maybe that's it too. The first year that I went to Ghana, I went with a travel group because my friends and I were like, oh, let's go to Ghana. Actually, what happened was I had a couple of friends who were like, oh, we're going to Ghana this year. And I was like, oh, shoot. Well, if y'all are going, like, I want to go. Like, why would I be watching y'all have fun in Ghana and me just sit at home on law school break and not do anything? Like, that doesn't really make sense to me. So I was like, I'm going. So time passed. We had the conversation. I made the deposit. And I thought like my friends had made the deposit as well. And come to find out, when one of the owners of the group, Discover Giddy, as many of you know, one of the owners of the travel group hit me up and was like, hey, you put so-and-so's name down as your roommate, but we don't have a deposit from so-and-so, or like, we don't have a so-and-so that's coming with us. And I was like, whoa. So I hit up the group chat again. It had been a little time since we had talked about it, because when you're traveling with a travel group, it's just like, you don't really need to talk about much, right? If I told you I'm booking, like that's it. And then that's the end of that until it's time to go, because they're planning everything. And so I hit up the group and I was like, yo, what's going on? And essentially they were like, dang, can't go anymore. Like, ooh, yeah, sorry. They apologized. It was cool, but I was now going to be in Ghana by myself, even though I had not really intended to be, because the only reason that I was going was because I had friends who were going and I didn't want to be left out. I had traveled a decent amount then. So for me, it wasn't even like, you know, a matter of, oh, everybody is going back to visit their aunt and uncle. For me, it was just like, I'm traveling. Like, I'm going on another trip out of the country. And it just so happens to be that I'm going to Ghana. That was really all it was, if I really think about it. Even though I went solo, I made friends. And even though I went solo, like, here's the thing, like, Detty December, so many people go that, like, at least if you're coming from a highly populated city like New York, maybe even LA, so many people go that there will be someone that you know. So for example, like, I had a high school friend who was gonna be there as well. She was traveling with another travel group. So on a couple of nights, like, I hit her up like, yo, like, what are you getting into? And boom, instead of being with the travel group, sometimes I was with her. There was someone who I knew from Prep for Prep, like, who ended up being out there taking photos and getting content. There was somebody else who I'm really good friends with now, who was there that I had met before and was acquainted with, but like, we also spent some more time and we like linked up. So it was one of those things where it was like, if you're from New York and if you are if you vaguely know people who just like, you know, the type of people who would be at Everyday People and Cafe or Zuli and those type of things, like the people who you see there, like, they were gonna be in Ghana. And so after that experience, I was like, oh, I was solo, but I wasn't solo. And after that experience, I was like, oh, I could go as much as I want and I don't need to ever go. Like, this is the easiest solo trip, because it's not truly a solo trip. It's a like trip that I arrive at by myself, but I'm gonna know other people there. This is turning out to be just how I wanted it to be. I think the first year Discover Giddy, they did Cote d'Ivoire before going to Ghana. Then the second year they had gone back to Lagos and did that. However, they go during the week of Christmas. And again, if you know, I don't do Christmas away from my family, or not even if you know, as I've just stated, I don't do Christmas away from my family. So I did not take that opportunity to go to Nigeria, and I could not take the opportunity to just show up in Nigeria like the week of New Year's. And on top of that, the first year that I went to Ghana, I got my hair braided by the same people who braided this hairstyle. And once I had experienced that, I was like, nah, I'm going back next year to do my hair again. Same person, same time, same day, same place. So that was also really important to me as well. And I was like, bet, let me run it back. The second year, I traveled with Discover Giddy. In transparency, they like gave me a discount to create content for them. And I was like, fine. I initially was only going to do the events package with them because truthfully, once you go to Ghana the first time, I don't really think you need a travel group to help you through it the second time. And that's really just because like Ghana is not the hardest place to navigate. Also, we're done. I'm on to the second one now. So yeah, it was just like travel to any other country. But once I had experienced it for the first time, I was like, oh, I could do this again, and I could do this solo because I'll know people there. At the very least, I'll know the Discover Giddy people. And if not, I'll know way more. So once I had experienced that first trip, I was just like, oh, bet. And again, like because of the timing, because I'll never do Christmas away from home, or not even away from home, away from family, because I'll never do Christmas away from family. It just ended up being that Ghana was just where people were that week. Yeah. And here's the thing. Nigeria is a little trickier to navigate. And I say this now having been like the first time I went, which was May 2023, April to May for a wedding. Like it was just, first of all, like the process of getting a passport / visa is a lot more somehow than it is for Ghana. Ghana, it was, all right, send your US passport, we'll send it back to you in the time. If you expedite it, it'll be back in the expedited time. Nigeria, good luck. Good luck is really what it felt like and what it was giving. So that off the bat is just like a difference. Additionally, I didn't know anyone who was going to Nigeria. Funny enough, like I know people who would be in Ghana, but I guess Nigeria comes off as a little more daunting to go and visit if you don't really know how to finesse. And so I don't really often, I'll always go. I'm down to go to Nigeria. I'm even down to go to Nigeria instead of Ghana, except for the braids I have on my head. If there ever were a year that I was going to do the last week of December in Nigeria, I would go to Ghana first. I would get my hair braided, and then I would go to Nigeria. Or I would get a hairstyle in Nigeria that'll hold me for the week, and then go to Ghana on my way back to the US and get my hair braided. That's probably what I would do in either circumstance. Ghana would be involved because of my hair braider. I'm just yet to find someone else or see someone else who does work that looks as good as what I see on her page online. And I haven't seen braids in real life on someone where I'm like, oh shoot, where'd you get your hair done? And they told me it was somewhere in Nigeria. Like I have not seen the quality of braiding work that my braider in Accra does anywhere else. So until then, and not even until then, because this is, I don't know, I like the idea of going back to a place and having just that relationship built. So not even until then. I think for as long as I feasibly can, I would do that. Honestly, truthfully, my goal probably, if I go back to Ghana next year, which I probably will because I have a friend now who has a wedding that she's going to. And so, I mean, I was always going to go, but now I'm like, oh, okay, I have a friend who's going again, so I will also be there. I probably would want to try and see a different city. Maybe go to Kumasi, just go somewhere else and, experience another part to actually be a traveler. Like fourth time in Ghana, like, yeah, I should be seeing somewhere other than Accra. So we'll see if that actually happens because I know logistically it would be some work, but I don't know. I would love to do that. I would love to just, see a little bit more of Ghana than just Accra. So I had to race against the sunset to finish, but I have finished the setup, so I do want to show you. This is what we have going on over here. I added these candles as like a touch to, I don't know, just, it gives artsy vibes. It gives, Roman, was there a Roman Renaissance? It gives Renaissance era. Whatever. It gives artsy. And then of course we have the thing that I was working on, which was the bow candelabra, candles and bows, which I think came out exactly how I wanted them to. And then we have our little paint set up over here, the paint by numbers. So it's actually not like attached, I guess, like, but it came with tacky glue, which I now I was so confused before. I was like, why is there tacky glue in this set? And I assume it's because it's to like glue the actual canvas to the board. A cup of water here for the paint setup, you know, to do whatever. I should probably also have some napkins out as well, so I'll get some napkins. Always got a diptyque large candle in the setup, like every single time I host, so that's there per usual. These glasses from TJ Maxx that also just give like, I don't know, they kind of match the romantic theme. I have some Black Girl Magic Riesling back there because it matches, but I won't be drinking tonight, and I don't think my friend will be drinking either. Florals are from Ode a la Rose, my favorite florist in New York, for my weekly flowers, and then I have another florist that I like for my event flowers. I chose a different picture, or I chose a different painting because, I don't know, it's just mix up. It's not really that difficult. Like, because there's a guide, because there's a stencil, it's like, why, it's not really necessary to paint the same thing. So yeah. Same setup on this side, same setup on this side, except I have a different candle, which again gives artiste or whatever. And yeah, I'm gonna order some sushi. I made some brownies today as a part of my food and fragrance series. So gonna order sushi, gonna do that. I'll probably edit some videos now too, but this is what it's looking like. I love it so much. I'll probably show it to you once I light the candles and like have everything dim. Let me even see what it looks like when it's just, yeah, I'll probably do this lighting for when I actually light the candles, which I realize I could do right now just to get a preliminary look. So let me actually see what it looks like when I light the candle. This is what it looks like with the candles lit. This would be such a cute date night. Such a cute date night, but it is a date night with my homegirl, so it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. I'm really proud of myself, as per usual, whenever I host. So yeah, I'm gonna blow out these candles now though, because she's not here yet and I don't want to waste them. Anyways, child, while I wait for my friend to come, I figured we could finish up this chat anyways. I'm actually gonna place an order on Instacart for water. Anytime I have guests over, I just prefer to have bottled water. So it'll I normally either have bottles of Fiji water if it's multiple people, or if it's like one, or if it's a dinner, I'll do Saratoga Still. So I'm gonna order some Saratoga Still. Let me see if these people got oxtail, because if they do, I'm gonna be making some oxtail this weekend. Whoa, $21. $21. Yeah, let's just go with 4 waters, or let's go with Fiji bottled water. I think, yeah, I'll get 1 Martinelli actually. So back to Detty December. 641 to 719. I had a grand old time. And I had a grand old time because I went with friends this year, but that wasn't really why. I mean, I always have a good time. I saw my people, discovered Giddy, I loved them, held it down, you know, showed love. I met a lot of you out there, which was fun. I felt, I don't know, I'm just like, it's really crazy how like happy I am once I'm in warmer weather, when I'm in Africa, like, it's just a different level of just happiness. that I can't really explain, but I think is pretty palpable when you see me. So I don't know. I think that just was evident in my content and my just like, I really just like to dance. I really just like when the music is good, and the music was good out there. The DJs were doing their thing. And I don't want a 3 count of that. They're saying, oh my gosh. DJ was doing their thing. DJs were doing their thing. The ladies were looking fine. The men were looking fine. Like, yeah, so I have no complaints. And genuinely speaking, here's the thing about the whole like, oh, all you do is you went to party, da 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 da. People need to remember that TikTok is this much of reality. And I don't mean that in the sense of like, oh, Instagram is a highlight reel, da 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 da. What I mean is there is a selection bias, right? The people who you see on TikTok are people who have content that people are engaging with. You're not really gonna see videos on your For You page that aren't pushing or driving some sort of engagement unless you consistently engage with a particular person whose video appears on your For You page. The type of content that is going to get engagement and views is flashy content. Content where people are wearing cute outfits, content where people are doing crazy things, content where people are having a good time, content where people are doing cultural immersion less in Detty December, right? Like if you're just a travel vlogger and that's what you do on a day-to-day, I'm not saying that it won't sell, but I'm saying in the context of Detty December, what people are going to engage with because what they want to see is the Detty, right? Like the Detty. So I really do, it's like the past years that I've gone, I wasn't really interested. I use it as my December, like I use that as my vacation. Like that was my like, I'm not doing content on this trip. I'm living my life and enjoying it. So I actually don't even have that much footage of like me doing the city tour because I was just like, yo, I'm here, I'm gonna enjoy it. However, I've seen some videos of people like doing the cultural stuff, doing the museums, this, that, and the third, and it doesn't perform well. So I think that stuff is out there, but I think again, people are seeing certain creators, and I do think there were certain creators or some creators, I do believe there were people in general, not even just creators and influencers, who only went to party. But I think a lot of them, I think a lot of people who visited for the first time, who were not Ghanaian, who were not Nigerian, who were maybe visiting for whatever reason, or visiting with travel groups, actually did the cultural immersion stuff, even though they may not be content creators, and therefore they may not have that online, and that may not be visible. One thing that I will say has been true about my Decembers, every December, is that I leave with a little ting, with a little fling or whatever, which is always so funny to me. Because everyone's always like, Detty December, like, don't take those men seriously, like, da-da-da, which I don't, because again, like, I'm still single. However, it's just funny. Like, it's really just funny to me because similar to how Afrotech and how people viewed Afrotech, like, sometimes people are on that type of time. It doesn't mean they're on a serious type of time, but sometimes people are on that type of time. I don't take anybody too seriously, but what I will say is, so the first year that I went, that could have been serious, but I wasn't interested. And that was like someone who was a little, more mature in terms of age. Also, finances seemed very secure. That was a flew out, you know, go to the Super Bowl type of thing, which was a good little vibe. I just don't think I was in the place to think about anything serious or long term because I was in my final year of law school. And I was about to start my job at a law firm. Like I was about to be rooted in New York and this person was not. But again, pretty much anytime I date someone that I meet in another city, they're never in New York. I want to say like, funny enough, I did a dating wrap on close friends this year, or just for my close friends. And I think the figure was like 20% of the people. I think it might have been either 10 or 20% of the people that I dated this year were in New York. It definitely was probably 10. I think it was 1 out of 10 was the figure. And that's crazy, but I don't know. I'm just used to it at this point because something about the men in New York are just not it for me. But also it's selection bias because I don't really go out when I'm in New York. Like I do in the summer, but I don't really do. I'm more likely to go out, or I go out more when I'm in other cities. And when I go out, I meet people. And so if I'm only going out in other cities, I'm only going to meet people in other cities. And the chances that they are from New York is slim. So yeah, I was kind of just like, I'm about to be in New York. I'm about to start my legal career. I'm not giving up nothing for nobody. Like I'm in law school, so that kind of just, that fizzled out. The following year, I met someone as well. And funny enough, that person is now just like a good friend of mine. So that's cool. And then this year, you know, I went on a little date or whatever to the girlies that pay attention on TikTok. And I mean, where that is right now is like, we're, you know, getting to know each other, but again, not in the same city. So it's kind of just like, oh, we'll see where it goes. Like, you know, it could be cool. I actually like really enjoyed the date that I went on. I think this is like the first time in a while that I've like had a crush on somebody, which is fun. Like I miss like, you know, when it's like ignorance was bliss, because like now that we're older and grown and like know better, you just see all these red flags and you have to stand on business and it's whatever. I haven't seen any red flags, so there's that, but I'm still on the lookout for them. But it's also nice to just be like, oh, I have a crush on somebody, and like, ooh, somebody makes me like, like giggle and laugh and whatever. So that's cute, but I'm still single. So don't let this spoil the market or whatever. I'm still very single. I'm still, you know, if you got a brother or somebody you trying to put me onto, or who you want them to be put on. No, I'm just kidding. I'm fully just kidding. Please don't. I'm not trying to do any matchmaking service. I'm actually happily single. I'm not going to lie to you. Like I'm actually very much so enjoying my life. So as is. So that being said, you know, Detty December is always a little, you know, depending on what the vibe is. You know how people are like, oh, if you're a girl or if your guy's in Ghana without you or in Nigeria without you, like good luck. There might be some truth to that. I had an abrupt end to the video as I normally do because most of the time when I am recording content on 3 different platforms is like the last thing I can remember to do. So if you're seeing this, you probably already saw my video on TikTok and on Instagram, so this is just the last of it, but this was more so just an opportunity to catch up anyways. You guys already knew what the vibe was with the hosting. The hosting was a conduit to just be able to chat and catch up. The lighting right now is doing something different. Let me take down my hair so we can get the full effect. But thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for still rocking with me on this here platform, YouTube, despite my inconsistencies. We're not gonna talk about it. We're just gonna act. No more words. We're just gonna do. And that way, if we don't do, we didn't say anything anyways. So it's all good, but we're gonna do something. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video and I cannot wait to see you next time. Bye.